Hey, Ben here. You might be seeing some funny numbers pop up on your screen sometimes in Zenless
I'm
at
gonna let
0, and you
the
might be
subtitles
wondering,
in for
what's up with
people who
that?
don't speak English
Burn, freeze,
very well.
shatter, and disorders, what does it all mean? Well, that's the aim of today's video, getting in the nitty-gritty of anomalies, how they work, the pros and cons, and how to abuse them, as well as a look into disorder. Like and sub and share if this video helped, and let's begin. Anomalies are status effects,
I liked his
debuffs that
model a
you apply
lot,
on the
the way he
enemy
did it with
after
Ben,
applying enough of
the
an
pixel
element.
Ben.
Some attacks apply more, some characters apply more, and even bang boosts can do elemental damage.
Yeah, sure.
Each element has their own anomaly, and with that they have their own damage effect, debuff, and also disorder effect. Disorders are what happens when you apply a secondary anomaly different to the first one. And don't worry,
Yeah.
we'll look more into them later in the video. So fire will apply burn, a damage over time effect that happens 20 times during 10 seconds.
Then when I finish
Electric
you,
will
defense
apply
10 on exactly
shock,
5 minutes and
damage
give me an
effect that happens if
A7S.
you hit
Oh
the
shit,
enemy
that's so lame.
1 time per second for 10 seconds.
Because it was probably because of the
Units
milliseconds.
can apply corruption, a damage effect that happens if you hit the enemy
So 20 procs in 10 seconds as well, okay.
seconds.
So it's gonna scale
Ice units
just as
can freeze
fine.
enemies and will apply frostbite, a 10% crit damage boost against the enemy.
See, the shatter is the thing. Because it has shatter, right? So you can freeze an enemy, change characters, and do another anomaly, and it's going to take all the shatter damage, which isn't a DOT. It isn't a damage over time, but it is a damage that would have come in and didn't, and because of that, that damage also gets integrated into the disorder. Shatter is almost disorder already. Yes, exactly. So you do like a disorder inside the disorder, and that would go like. I think it has huge potential, but we're gonna see that later on, right? Eventually. We're gonna see.
Also shatter the enemy for a one-time large amount of damage. Physical agents can cause assault and apply flinch, increasing the days taken by the enemy by 10% for 10 seconds. Assault is a one-time large amount of damage, just like shatter.
Yep.
So everything lasts 10 seconds. Burn is a damage over time.
Ellen Yanagi and Sokaku, it is possible. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think I said it on the video, didn't I? No.
Instances with debuffs that
Did I? No. I said. You're right though. You're right though. I haven't thought of it, but you're right. But what I said in my video was Harumasa, Yanagi, and Sokaku. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Ellen, Yanagi, and Sokaku will be better though. Because Harumasa is physical, so he won't be able to really proc this other well. So to use them right, you would have to use to proc Ether with Yanagi, with Assault almost being procced, and then you would have to change to Harumasa to proc his Assault. I mean, the physical anomaly, it's the easiest one to proc from them all. Is the fastest one to proc. So you could still do Harumasa with Yanagi and Sokaku. But that's gonna have to be labbed out. You're gonna have to try it in game to see if it truly works. My XP is level 39, 47, 85. We are both right there. Yeah. I have 220k disorder with Nicole earlier today since I was trying to do 10 with Nicole, Lucy, and Grace. Lol, the shit's crazy. Use Yanagi to build either faster and trigger disorder with Ellen and Sokaku. Yeah, that is also possible. I would do the opposite though. I mean, both are right, actually. Yeah, both are right.
So if you reapply a damage over time anomaly, it will refresh the duration, but all your old damage procs will be lost, therefore cutting our theoretical maximum damage. So Grace's insane shock application can sometimes be wasted potential in a mono-electric team.
Yep.
But that's where disorder teams can shine, as we'll see later on.
Exactly. The true go to the game.
Notes for anomalies. 1. Anomalies cannot crit. Just like break damage in Honkai Star Rail, crit does not matter.
Yeah, trigger short, sheer run from Lucy, and slap a corruption on, big damage. It's such an HP sink. Yeah, it is.
2. Anomalies do not accumulate days. Only attacks with days multipliers do. Disorder does not accumulate days either. There was, however, a tutorial stating that it does.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Bugged and
I think they had to fix it.
Or the tutorial in turn messed up.
Exactly.
So know that
No, no,
right now
no.
it doesn't.
All
But
the
could in the
info
future if it was
was that
intended
it
to.
was supposed to today's.
3. Anomalies take the agent's stats at
So
the
I do
time of
think it will get
attribute
stronger.
application. If I'm mega buffed for half of my spin on Piper, and then have no buffs for the second half, it will take into account both time periods.
Yeah, exactly.
We can see this using an example of Soldier 11. If I spam EX, I have no damage percent and I get this much burn damage.
Yep.
If I spam basics, however, notice how
You
my
get a lot
burn
more.
damage is higher. That's because I'm using her core passive that increases her damage during fire suppression.
Exactly.
It's taking those stats every time I do so and contributing it to the total anomaly damage.
Yep.
If I do a mix
That's
of
why the
both
calculation
basics
is so
and
complex.
EXs, I get something in the middle. It's not important to know the exact ratios of everything, it's just important to know that this is a thing.
Oh, congrats, Arn.
4. This also means attack and damage buffs
Gee.
after the anomaly is activated do not matter for this anomaly. They'll matter for the next
Wait,
one.
hold on.
if the anomaly is
I missed it.
activated. 4. This also means attack and damage buffs after the anomaly is activated do not matter for this anomaly.
Of course.
They'll
I mean,
matter
that's
for
obvious.
the next one. You can see this where I activate Burn on Soldier 11, then buffer with Starlight Engine and Lucy.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
5. This finally means that if two characters contribute to the same element's anomaly, say a shock,
Yeah,
we'll
it's gonna
into
take
account
both of their
their
damage.
stats when applying it.
Exactly.
If I apply 90% of a shock with Grace and 10% with Rena, that will change how the final shock damage ends up being.
Yep.
And 6. Anomalies take the enemy modifiers at the time of damage. So no matter what happens with your stats from before, enemy modifiers like Death Reduction, the 1.5 times stun multiplier, and more will all modify damage when they are active. So if I apply a shock onto a target the whole time they aren't stunned, the shock will still do 1.5 times damage when they are stunned.
Yeah, for sure.
So your character stats
It's a
matter when
moment-in-moment
applying attributes for
calculation.
anomalies,
It calculates
and
based
the
on
enemy
presence
stats matter when
sets.
it does damage.
In the enemy side,
Finally,
not in the character
7.
side.
Anomalies of the same element have an internal cooldown before being reapplied.
Yeah, I know.
And you can waste anomaly application. You can see this with Piper on a weak enemy. It's about 3 seconds before she can apply another assault, despite the bar being full.
Yep.
And an example of wasting anomaly application is with her EX special's final hit.
Yeah,
You
because
can
it
see
does a
applies
shitload
ton
of
physical
damage.
Element.
Yeah.
But if it happens just before the bar is filled,
Assault
and
is just
assault
so easy to
triggered,
proc, it's crazy.
it all gets used for this assault. And
That's
no
why
excess
Nekomata is so
physical
strong.
element will be carried over for the next one, which means you need to be smart about applying it.
Even though
So how
Soldier
do we
11 is
apply
better.
Anomaly, and how do we do it faster? As I said, all attacks are different, but we have ways of increasing how fast we can apply it, and ways it can slow down. If you keep
I
applying...
mean, Darkwind, they gave us a lot of options. They just didn't give us a lot of obvious options, like Helen, Lycanen, and Sokaku. But they gave us a lot of options, right? They're just a little bit complex and requires sometimes 2 or 3 5-star characters, so they are more expensive to build as well. So that's why not everyone uses them. But we do have a lot of options. Soldier 11 and Envy are sisters. They are sisters or clones because of the last Soldier 11 demo video. Soldier 11 remembers of Envy teaching her stuff. So either Envy is Soldier 11 older sister, or they are clones of each other or of a third person.
Enemy will take longer for every subsequent anomaly of the same type to be reapplied, but it's not too significant until you take ages to beat the fight.
Yep.
For increasing build-up speed, Anomaly Mastery is a multiplier to Anomaly Build-up.
So it is base Anomaly Build-up times Anomaly Master, 1 plus Anomaly Build-up rate, times 1 minus Anomaly Build-up rest. Okay, it's a pretty simple form. At least a normal anomaly calculation.
Anomaly
The problem
Mastery
is the
divided by
disorder,
100
though.
is the multiplier you get. So, for example, having 200 AM is equivalent to building up twice as fast as having 100 AM.
Yeah.
There is also Anomaly Build-up rate as another multiplier. An example of this is in Grace and Piper's kits, which is why they apply it so fast.
Exactly. Because they are anomaly characters.
Resistance is a final multiplier, and you can find it in Grace's Mindscape 2, for example. Enemies can also have built-in resistance.
Yep.
And then, how does anomaly damage work? Anomaly damage is first determined by the base damage of an anomaly. Burn is 50% of your attack. Combining the 20 procs makes it 1000%. Shock is 125% of your attack. Combining the 10 procs makes it 1250%. Eruption is 65%. Combining the 20 procs makes it just like Shock at 1000.
So Corruption is basically the same damage as Shock, but you have a bigger
Shatter
window
is 500%
to
of
proc.
attack, but in one instance rather.
So according to this calculation, Shatter is probably going to be the best effect to apply Anomaly after Disorder after, right? Because it simply scales more. No, not actually, because it's 20 procs of 62% attack instead of 500. Sorry. So Corruption is the biggest. I misspoke. Hold on, I misspoke. Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching. I'm just gonna say it first, and if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. Don't worry. Corruption is gonna be the biggest procer because it has 20 procs at a 62.5% attack. Then it's Shock, then it's Burn, then it's Shatter. Sorry, it's Corruption, Shock, Burn, Assault, and Shatter. Right? Let's check it now.
Than over 10 seconds. And Assault is found to be around 713%.
Oh yeah, it's the same. Sorry.
In one instance.
I calculated
So
127. I don't know why.
We have physical, ice, and then electric, ether, and
Yeah,
fire behind in order.
There it is. I mean,
based on total
why did I even
damage,
try?
We have electric and
but yeah,
ether,
I was quite right.
Then fire, then physical and ice in order.
I just miscalculated ether.
Then gets any damage percent bonuses during the attribute application, as we saw earlier. You can also get things like shock damage percent from Grace's core passive. Just like normal damage, it goes through the death multiplier, res multiplier, stun multiplier, and damage taken multiplier.
Yep.
We also have anomaly proficiency. Annoyingly, mastery is for how fast you build up anomalies, and proficiency
is how much damage it does. Yep.
Just like AM divided by 100, we divide our anomaly proficiency.
Yeah, the problem is that I miscalculated, and instead of 1,250, I don't know why I thought 1,275. So I was like, oh, it's 25%, not 25% stronger, but 2.5% stronger. But I was just wrong. So yeah, doesn't matter.
To determine this,
they're the same. That's what matters.
AP is doing double the multiplier as 100 AP. We also get a final increase based on our level. And since the death multiplier
did my string crash on YouTube?
On your level,
no, it did not.
This means anomalies specifically double scale on level, unlike normal damage. It's just like break damage in Honkai Star Rail.
Wait, what did it say? Sorry.
Our level. And since the
level multiplier. Okay, of course.
Level, this means anomalies specifically double scale on level, unlike normal damage.
Yep.
It's just like break damage in Honkai Star Rail increases based on level, alongside the death multiplier also increasing from your level. So the important stats are attack percent, anomaly mastery.
So we can have Grace plus physical anomaly plus Rina, or Yanagi plus physical anomaly plus Nicole. By this calculation, physical anomaly is the best disorder starter. Yes, that's why Jane Doe was strong, and that's why I was thinking about it. Right? That's why I still think that Zui1, Jane Doe, and Nicole is going to be this. So sure. You can do 2 disorder teams as well to proc it even faster, but you have to go through the calculations to see if it's worth it not having an attack character, right? Which is a character that just has so much raw damage. And you gotta take in consideration how fast these DPS can apply anomaly as well. So it is kind of complicated to calculate, and it isn't going to be an obvious answer all the time. That being said, in 1.1, the strongest build is for sure, just like I said before on my previous video, is going to be Zui1, Jane Doe, and Nicole. On 1.2, it can probably change, because if double disorder is that strong, and I myself don't know, but some people here in chat like have tried it and they say super strong, and I trust them. It for sure is super strong. I just don't know if it's going to be as strong as some of these combos. But if it is super strong like that, then Disorder is just going to take the whole damage apart, the whole game apart. Right? It's just going to dominate all the game, because it is probably just going to be that strong. especially if they fix disorder and they put into applied days, just like as it was intended on CBT3 and on the tutorials. Because if it does, then you don't even have a reason to have a stun character. Because how can I put it? Because oh shit, you don't even will have a reason to have a stun character because this disorder would just apply that much days that you won't need a stunner. Sure, it is harder to play, but it will compensate you with a lot of extra damage. The one shots don't have damage left, so they don't do as much of the residual. Of course, no damage, but you get bonus crit damage or days. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anomaly
Let's continue.
proficiency, damage percent, and pen percent.
Yeah, attack percent, damage percent, pen percent, anomaly proficiency, and anomaly mastery. Yeah. Anomaly mastery is the last one probably because it's anomaly mastery is all about min-maxing, and I do think these stats are just going to scale that much harder than mastery because of the way the calculation works. That being said, mastery is just it is important in the end of the game, right? When you're talking about truly min-maxing, all of them are important. That being said, these ones will be probably a lot more important than this one because this one is that much harder to make a difference.
Anomaly mastery.
Best lead seems to be either shock or corruption with the physical follow-up for biggest smash hits. 100% agree. 100% agree.
Anomaly proficiency, damage percent, and pen percent. Being a higher level helps your damage, and so does reducing enemy resistances. Leveling up your kit skills therefore does nothing for anomaly damage unless it specifically is increasing your damage percent buffs, like a core passive. The only reason you'd want to level them up is for kit damage and days, of which you won't be doing too much, but this is up to you. This does mean though that anomaly DPS are pretty cheap to build.
Exactly, that's what I'm
But
talking
does this
about.
mean we build
And
anyone as
versatile.
anomaly DPS though, like we could for break in HSR?
No.
Well, no. Not all units are great for break in HSR, and not all units are great for anomaly.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Even
it wouldn't be
someone
good
like
for the
Soldier
game
11
if all of
with
them were
massive
good.
damage buffs and big anomaly application still loses a lot of damage if she swaps everything from a crit
Yeah,
build
of course.
to an anomaly build. This is because she still doesn't apply as much anomaly as a fire anomaly eventually would.
Yep.
Also, her damage multipliers are too powerful to get rid of for the sake of anomaly
Exactly.
damage. Maybe we'll get supports in the future that enable this build on attack DPS, kind of like Imaginary MC from Honkai Star Rail. Onto Disorder. Disorder is what happens when you apply a second anomaly after a first one.
Yep.
You have a 10-second period after applying the first one, since that's when the damage over time is ticking down, or the debuff in case of Ice and Physical. Disorder damage is based on the previous anomaly too. It will apply the new anomaly whilst consuming the old one and doing a burst of damage.
Yep.
This does hurt, for example, the Thunder Metal set that gives you combat attack percent when an enemy is shocked.
Yeah.
Or the Inferno Metal set that gives you crit rate when attacking a burned enemy.
Yep.
As for how much damage they do, we had some initial values that I put in my combat video, but unfortunately they must have been old from CBT3. That has been removed from the combat video. After I did some testing, we found out a bunch of them were wrong, thank God,
I thought so.
or I would have had a lot of disorder misinfo here. So these still might be slightly incorrect, but they check out in-game as of 1.0. They are a bunch of formulas, so instead I will just explain in easier in-game terms.
What's the formulas?
If
I'm
you
gonna be honest
proc
with
a
you.
burn disorder, that is to say you applied burn, then a random anomaly after, you will do the following amount of damage. Your disorder damage will be a base 9 procs of burn, and then a decaying amount of burn procs based on the time in between your two anomaly applications.
Yep.
So applying anomaly sooner rather than later means front-loading more burn procs.
Exactly.
If you proc a shock disorder, your disorder will do damage equivalent to a base 3.6 shock procs, and then more depending on the time in between anomaly applications.
Sure.
Corruption is the same as shock, but doubled, since its base value is half of shocks.
Exactly.
So 7.2 base corruption procs, and then more depending on the time in between applications. Assault and Shatter disorders will do the same amount of damage, a base 450% multiplier, just like the rest, but the decay rate is much less significant compared to the other disorders.
Yep. It's a
So
more of a
this will change
lenient disorder build. So for example, if you didn't want to run disorder necessarily, right? But you wanted to run double DPS, assault, and which one was it? Assault and freeze could be used on a double DPS scenario if those DPSs can apply Anomaly fast enough. I don't know if they would, because Anomaly on big bosses take quite a while to proc. But if they can, a double DPS might also take advantage of Freeze and Assault. But yeah, I still think, just like First said, and I agree with him, I signed below him, Shock and Ether are going to be the biggest basis of this sort of build. For sure.
Is much less significant compared to the other disorders. So this may all change a bit if Hoyo is fixing or changing behind the scenes. We'll keep testing every time.
And there's also that. Hoyo might change the numbers
shock, and
or anything else, so we don't know.
Front-loaded damage and then are consumed. Instead of waiting 10 seconds and spamming hits to get all your shock procs, Disorder will make them happen all at once on top of some.
Yep.
This is why when applying one of these on top of a one-time damage instance anomaly like Assault, you get an insane front-loaded number. This is for example in Grace Piper teams. You're basically taking all of the shock procs, combining them into one damage instance and then some, and then applying Assault just after for a big explosion. Assault and Shattered Disorders are just weaker repeats of their initial high damage burst and are not as crazy as the others.
Yep.
Every disorder has the same base scaling, but the potential of the damage over time disorders is much higher due to it front-loading procs.
Exactly.
So a gameplay tip for doing disorder is the fact that you can quick swap off of an agent that is about to apply an anomaly. This will not apply the anomaly
do
even
quick
if the
swap
attack should have done so. This means you can store your proc for maximum disorder potential.
Yep.
So for example, if I want to proc a burn disorder, I can apply a bunch of physical on Piper, quick swap off of her before she procs
proc the burn, and then go back.
11.
Exactly. Which was what we were talking about, Harumasa.
Can be immediately activated on Piper.
Yep.
Anomaly and Disorder is a crazy game concept, and I love how they implemented it, even if I also hate how they implemented it.
I don't hate it though.
Between attacks and characters and all building up to a certain anomaly is such a cool damage concept, and this archetype will get crazier and crazier as we go into the game's lifetime.
Exactly, it's going to scale so hard. People have no idea.
And what your favorite anomaly team is. Oh, there's another one. Like and sub and
share. Bro, I love his model.
Thanks for watching and have a go day.
His 2.5 pixel art fucking Ben Bigger model is so sick. So sick, so sick, so sick. Love the video. I'm gonna sub to the guy, give it a like. I've never seen his channel before. Pretty amazing channel. I'm gonna link in chat as well if you guys wanna see. And if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, follow me on my Twitch, and go give a like and follow the original video as well, because this guy deserves it, because he explained it in such a simple way that I just couldn't on my videos. So help the guy out, he deserves it. That's for sure. See you guys in the next one. Peace.